I like trying different food crops in our garden, so that's why I'm always on the lookout for new seeds and plants. But purchasing every vegetable you grow every year can be a costly process that is, quite frankly, unnecessary. G'day, I'm Mark from Self-Sufficient Me, and in this video I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to start being more self-sufficient in vegetables. Let's get into it. Number 1, capitalize on what grows well. Just about every location and climate has a particular vegetable or several that grow well naturally with hardly any effort at all. Observe what always seems to thrive at your place and capitalize on it. For example, citrus is not a vegetable, but it is a food crop that grows so easily here on our property that we've taken full advantage of it. However, sweet potato is a vegetable that we also grow all year round, and its versatility and sheer production value means I would be crazy not to take advantage of this crop. So find out what grows well in your area. Is your area known for a certain vegetable or even famous for a certain crop? What are your neighbours growing? Find answers to these questions, grow those crops and others like them to be more self-sufficient in vegetables. Tip 2, grow heirlooms. Heirloom vegetables can be grown over and over because the seeds they produce are true to type. Many modern varieties of vegetables are not true to type and will often grow an inferior plant to the original if you try saving the seeds and regrowing. Obviously, if you can grow the same vegetable from seed that you get from growing those plants in your own garden, well then you don't have to buy seed every year, and that saves money and also makes you self-sufficient in that vegetable. Another good reason to save your own seed to regrow is adaptation. Vegetables grown over several generations will slowly adapt to your property and grow better. Some might even self-seed and regrow every year, like clockwork in your garden, turning into perpetual food crops without you having to do anything at all. Don't forget about those long-lived perennial crops either. Plant once and they keep producing for ages. You'll have to dedicate a section of garden or large container for the long term, but it's worth it. Asparagus is my favourite. It just keeps producing more each season. And an asparagus bed can last for 20 plus years. Number 3, allow enough space. If you want to be self-sufficient in vegetables, you need to allow enough space to grow the amount of veggies you need. Yes, it can depend on the crop and also how many people your vegetable garden needs to feed. For example, you might not need many chili plants to be self-sufficient in them because you don't need to use as much. Or the opposite, if you have 10 kids, one short drill of potatoes won't probably be enough. In general, to sustain the average family, growing space is a factor. Naturally, the more you can grow, the less you have to buy. Some vegetables store well, such as potatoes, onions, garlic, carrots, pumpkins, and they can sustain you until the next growing season. Don't forget about the option to preserve a glut or a big harvest either, like making sauerkraut out of cabbage, canning food, and dehydration, just to name a few ways. And this will help you become more self-sufficient in vegetables. Number 4, protect your crops from pests and disease. There's no use growing plenty of vegetables if your crops keep getting raided by animals or destroyed through diseases. You won't have much to harvest at all. No food gardener likes growing food just for the wildlife, although I don't mind losing some produce if I have plenty or letting the odd blemished fruit and veg get cleaned up by animal visitors to our garden. However, crop losses do need to be controlled because not only do you lose the ability to be self-sufficient in that vegetable, but you waste valuable resources and time. The best way to protect against pests is exclusion through things like netting, fencing, bagging, and structures such as greenhouses. Disease prevention and early treatment is also very important. Look for low toxic fungal sprays, bed rotation of annual crops, growing at the right time, and appropriate water and nutrients to keep plants strong and less susceptible to problems.
Hi Mark, so thank you very much for having me on. And my fifth tip that I tell people if they're beginning the journey of becoming self-sufficient in vegetables is to make a list of the vegetables that you find yourself buying the most often and eating the most often, and then doing a bit of research to see if they're suitable to grow in your climate. So for example, something I absolutely love are onions, and they're used almost every single day. And last year we grew half a bed of onions, which provided enough for around 5 or 6 months. But I want to be totally self-sufficient in onions, so I am just over doubling the scale this year. Over the course of a month, get a notebook and make a list of all of the staple vegetables that you find yourself eating and enjoying. And it's got to be detailed because you need to get rough quantities in terms of how much you're actually eating. So for example, if it's potatoes, just doing a bit of research in terms of the average yield per potato, you'll then have a much clearer idea on how many rows of potatoes you need to grow to last around 12 months worth. And with this list of things that you find yourself eating and buying the most often, I'll just start with 1 or 2 of the most popular ones on that list and just make sure that they're really suited for your climate, and then get growing.
Grow what you buy and eat. Well, who knew about that? That was Hugh from Hugh's Nursery. Thanks, mate. And if you want to see my final tip, I encourage you to go to Hugh's channel and check out his latest video on exactly the same subject, but we've got different tips. I'm one of them. And make sure you subscribe to his channel when you get there. Links below in the description. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye for now. Fresh asparagus. That is to die for.